Pnawn da pawb, croeso cynnes iawn i chi gyd cyfarfod Cabinet heddiw. Cynghorydd Charlie McCirby dwi i'r awenydd cyn o'r Conwy. Can I welcome everyone to today's meeting, which is a hybrid meeting. The meeting will be live streamed and recorded and will be available for viewing after the meeting. Should the live streaming fail, the meeting will continue and a recording will be available through the Council's website following the conclusion of the meeting. Can I remind members that translation facilities are available and for those attending on Zoom to choose the language of your choice. For those wishing to speak in the chamber, please raise your hand. For those on Zoom, please use the raised hand function. We will alternate between speakers in the chamber and on Zoom. For those attending remotely, please note that those in the chamber will be able to use the chat facility. Committee members who are attending remotely are required to leave their camera on throughout the debate and when voting in order to maintain the integrity of the decision-making process. If you do need to leave the meeting temporarily, pop a message in the chat function so the Democratic Services Officer is aware and then let us know when you return. I expect everyone present and participating in this meeting to conduct themselves appropriately and be respectful to each other. That applies to members, officers and anyone in the public gallery. So we'll move on to agenda item 1, which is apologies for absence.
Apologies received from Councillors Gronwy Edwards and Penny Andow.
Okay, thank you. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest, code of local government. Members are reminded they must declare the existence and nature of their declared personal interest. Chris.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, it's item 12.1, council tax premiums on long-term empty homes and second homes. My wife has a property that falls into the second home category. So I declare personal and prejudicial interest and I will leave the room for that item.
Okay, Chris. Any other members like to declare an interest? No one online? No. Okay, agenda item 3 is urgent matters. I'm not aware of any, nor to Chief Executive. So agenda item 4, minutes of the Cabinet to approve and sign as a correct record the minutes of the previous meeting. You'll find those on pages 4 to 10. Members, if we're happy with the minutes, could I have a proposer and a seconder? Councillor Julie and Aaron, can we show we're in favour of accepting the minutes? Okay, so agenda item 5, matters referred to Cabinet by a scrutiny committee for consideration. So this is the North Wales Fire and Rescue Service consultation on emergency cover review. You'll find it on pages 11 to 13. There's a recommendation to Cabinet, to me through Cabinet, I guess. Councillor Cheryl, do you want to introduce this? You online? Is there anything you want to add to it?
Hi, Councillor Charlie. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear, Cheryl.
Great. I don't know. I couldn't see my picture there. I wasn't sure where I'd popped up. Yeah, thank you very much for this. As you know, we invited, given the problems with the Fire Authority financing last year and the burden it puts on Conwy taxpayers, we asked for the Chief Fire Officer to come to talk to us. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to, but sent 2 other officers. We had an informative discussion around the consultation, but unbeknownst to ourselves, the members of FROSC had an email from the Fire Service Union detailing a lot of financial concerns that they had, including the proposed construction of a £48 million training centre. Now, this information didn't come to FROSC members till the meeting had finished, so we were not able to put these questions to the officers that were there. And I would be very grateful if you could discuss this and the issues at the Cabinet, the financial implications, given that we're going to be setting our budget in March and any pressures from the fire service is going to have a real effect on our budget and our council taxpayers. So I'd be really grateful if you could do that and make representations today from Cabinet to the Fire Authority. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Cheryl. I wasn't aware of the email till you sent it to me last night. Clearly, the item that was presented was on the consultation for the emergency cover review. The ask to Cabinet was that we write to Welsh Government requesting that they allow a precept for fire and rescue authorities as opposed to levy. To be clear, I'm very supportive of that approach. We know it's what the police authority do, so there's a real transparency there about what they spend and how they spend it. At the moment, in a levy, it is, as you say, it adds to the our council tax bill. So I'm very happy to support the levy. I don't have details of the budget. Obviously, I've got your email, but there's no one here really to debate it with. So I'd find that quite difficult. I think that we have representations on the fire authority. It's their job to scrutinise that budget. But clearly, we would want any impact on our residents to be as small as possible. But I don't really see what we can debate today other than just supporting the idea of a levy so that it's transparent. Sorry, a separate precept so that people can see what they're paying and what they're getting for that service. But I'll open it up to members if there's any other opinions. That I know, Nigel, you were on the fire authority for a number of years. If any opinion on that?
Thanks, Leader. Yeah, I think it's up to the members of the fire authority to look at the budget, scrutinise it. I was on the audit committee and questioned the officers and the chief whilst I was there. So I think that's the proper process to go through. Thank you, Leader.
Okay. Does any other members like to comment? Councillor Mike.
Thank you, Leader. I think I wondered if Cheryl could convey that to our representatives on the fire authority, because I was at Frosk when this recommendation that you write to the Welsh Government requesting that, you know, they look at implementing coming away from the levy, I should say. So as I say, I just think that Nigel said there, the proper process, I think, should go through the authority members, and maybe I think Councillor Gareth from the Conservative, I think, has just taken a place up. Perhaps if he could sort of lead on that and talk to his colleagues around the fire authority, whether that would be the best place to go about this.
Okay. Cheryl, are you okay with that? I can't see you on screen, so I just wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know why I've not appeared. I am here, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just raised it in this forum because I am really concerned about the impact on our budget as a whole, and you as the cabinet have the ultimate say on this, as you know, and I would just really like to flag this up as a whole council concern, an extra pressure that you know, I will obviously raise it as Chair of Frosk with I think 3 members of the fire authority, have we? Councillors Sharon and is it Councillor Chris Hughes as well? I shall raise it with them as Chair of Frosk, but in that capacity, I wish to raise it with yourselves because of the budgetary implications. So thank you very much for that, Leader.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, it's the full council that sets the budget at our annual meeting. But yeah, I'm more than happy for this proposal to write. It's something I've raised at a North Wales leadership level, that a precept would be more transparent than a levy. So do I need to propose that? I'm just happy to. Do we need a cabinet vote on that now? Okay, so I'm happy to move that recommendation. Aaron, you second it. Can we show we're in favour of a letter going? Okay, diolch pawb. So we move on to agenda item 6, which is to receive feedback from members and outside bodies or any national park authorities. So a very warm welcome to our chairman, Councillor Ivor Lloyd, who represents us on that body. So over to you, Ivor.
Diolch fawr. Just like to remind everyone, given the opportunity, it is World Mental Health Day, and if you can, make your way to Coed at some point to meet the table where Dav Jones is collecting for Mind. It's a worthwhile charity, and I will be using that charity for my chosen charity this year. Right, moving on. Do am now. Put your earphones on because I'll be chopped from Welsh to English, and I've already warned the translation. Okay, so pleser o'r mwyaf yw cyflwyno adroddiad fel aelod sy'n cynrychioli gonwy ar awdurdod y Parc Genedlaethol i chi, sy'n manylu ar ein gwaith, ein cyflwynadau ar heriau trwy gydol blwyddyn ariannol 2022-2023. Fel ceidwad un o tirweddau mwyaf godigog a ecolegol amrywiol yn y byd, rydym yn parhau i gyfleidio ein dyletsweddau i warchod gwella a hyrwyddo harddwch unigryw a threftadaeth diwylliannol Eryri. Rhaid i mi bwysleisio arwyddocâd y partneriaethau sydd wedi meithrin a cryfhau dros y flwyddyn diwethaf. Mae'n perthynas a chryf lywodraethol, sefydliadau dielw, sefydliadau addysgol a sector breifat wedi bod yn allweddol wrth gydweithio ar ein mentrau. Mae cyfuno arbenigaidd ac adnoddau wedi ei galluogi i fynd i'r afel a heriau cymleth gyda egni newydd ac atebion arloesol. Moving on to the English, improving recreation management in the park for our 22 summer season communications campaign. We implemented a collaborative effort with the 2 other national parks authorities in Wales, aimed at enhancing awareness of Eryri's unique attributes, which promoting responsible visitor behaviour. This campaign not only succeeded in celebrating our national park special qualities, but also in imparting the importance of adhering to the Countryside Code. Through innovative digital outreach, engaging content and strategic communication, we reached a wide spectrum of audiences, effectively influencing positive visiting behaviour. Moreover, our united front allowed us to address the pressing issue of unlawful fly camping, conveying a strong stance against such practices. Over the course of the campaign, we received over 20 million engagements between our press work and digital media accounts. In this year's review, we made significant strides in the plastic-free Arwyddfa initiative. The project scope was defined, encompassing the design zone of operation, clear criteria guiding principles, and the comprehensive 2023 campaign schedule were established. Paving the way for upcoming trials. We engaged with the key stakeholders, improving the project's ambitions to Forum Eryri and Partneriaeth Arwyddfa. Valuable insights were gathered through consultation with local landowners and farmers, shedding light on the challenges and opportunities of replacing single-use plastics. Collaborative efforts with local businesses resulted in adjustment to the plastic-free Arwyddfa business scheme, a crucial step in the project evolution. We also collaborated with Ysgol Berdan to craft compelling branding assets for the project. Work has been completed successfully on the Bwlch Maes Gwyn path, a pivotal segment of a Cylchdaith Arwyddfa circuit. This achievement is monumental in the path connecting Rhyddfrydr with Llanberis. Now stands as an all-access route on the mountain. This accomplishment not only enhances connectivity with our national park, but also underscores our commitment to providing inclusive and accessible experiences for all visitors. The path completion marks a significant step forward in promoting responsible outdoor engagement with preserving the natural beauty of Eryri. I'm pleased to highlight the remarkable success of Eryri, the Eryri website, which garnered nearly 3 million page views last year. The website has become a gateway to the park's diverse offerings, providing valuable information to the wide audience. This digital platform has not only fostered greater public awareness, but also served as an educational resource, prompting responsible visitation, environment stewardship, and cultural enrichment. The Carneddau Partnership has provided significant results. Archaeological work and the preservation of cultural heritage through place names research has been integral component of our endeavours. We made substantial progress in uncovering the historical richness of the region, bringing ancient stories to life. These initiatives not only enrich our understanding of the Carneddau Mountains, but reinforce our dedication to safeguarding their natural and cultural significance in the area. Collaboration has been more or less the cornerstone of our efforts in addressing the post-COVID visitor pressures in sensitive areas such as Nant Gwynant, working hand in hand with National Trust, Natural Resources Wales, councils and local councillors. We have crafted a comprehensive place plan. This place plan outlines a sustainable and balanced approach to managing visitor influx, preserving the natural beauty of areas such as this. Trondol i'r Gymraeg, dros y flwyddyn diwethaf, ail-lawnsiwyd cynllun ceidwad ifanc yn llwyddiannus. Nid yn unig mae'r fenter yma yn cynnig cyfle i unigolion ifanc ymgysylltu a'u hamgylchedd, ond mae hefyd yn rhoi dealltwriaeth ddyfnach iddynt o'r unweddau arbennig y parc genedlaethol. Trwy weithgareddau ymarferol a phrodiadau addysgol, Mae cyfrangwyr yn cael gwerthfawrogiad uniongyrchol o'n hamgylchedd naturiol, diwylliannol a chyfleoedd hamdden. Mae adfywiad y cynllun yn nodi buddsoddiad sylweddol yn ein dyfodol gan rymwyno ein hiehengtid gyda gwybodaeth a brwdfrydedd i ddod â stiwardiau ymroddedig o dirwedd a threftadaeth unigryw Eryri. Going back to the English, an upgrade to the Betws Coed Information Centre has been met with enthusiasm. The introduction of a state-of-the-art interactive sandbox marks a step forward in our efforts to educate and engage the public about the geological wonders of our landscape. This innovative feature allows visitors to physically mould sand, witnessing firsthand the transformative process that have shaped Eryri's breathtaking terrain. Through real-time projections and informative displays and interpretation, the interactive sandbox provides an immersive and captivating experience, making geology accessible and engaging for all ages. Work has also been completed successfully on the Bwlch Maes Gwyn path, a pivotal segment of y Cylchdaith yr Wyddfa. This achievement is monumental as the path connecting Rhyddian and Llanberis now stands as an all-access route. I'm pleased to highlight the remarkable success of, recommending face-to-face local access forums, both in both the north and the south of the park, marks a significant step towards enhancing collaboration and understanding between landowners and recreational users within Eryri. In the wake of the pandemic, these forums have rekindled essential dialogue, fostering a sense of shared responsibility for the park's stewardship. They've proven to be invaluable platforms for addressing concerns, sharing insights, and forging productive partnerships. This reinstatement reaffirms our commitment to inclusive and cooperative management practices that benefit all stakeholders of Eryri. The Eryri Ambassador Programme has achieved a remarkable milestone with over 700 participants actively engaging in this initiative. The programme success is indicative of our commitment to empowering individuals with knowledge about the area's unique special qualities. As ambassadors, these individuals become invaluable advocates, spreading our message to a wider audience and playing a pivotal role in nurturing a deeper understanding and appreciation of the National Park. The Carneddau Landscape Partnership has provided significant results, archaeological work, and the preservation of cultural heritage through place name research, and has been an integral component of our endeavours. Trwy'n dod i Cymraeg, dros y flwyddyn diwethaf, ail-lanswyd ein gynllun ceidwad ifanc yn llwyddiannus. Nid yn unig mae fenter yma'n cynnig cyfle i unigolion ifanc ymgysylltu a'u hamgylchedd, ond mae hefyd yn rhoi dealltwriaeth ddyfnach iddynt o'r unweddau arbennig y parc genedlaethol. Trwy weithgareddu ymarferol a phrofiadau addysgol, mae cyfranogwr yn cael ei gwerthfawrogiad uniongyrchol o'n hamgylchedd naturiol, diwylliannol a chyfleoedd hamdden. Mae adfywiad y cynllun yn nodi buddsoddiad sylweddol yn ein dyfodol gan rymuso ein hieuenctid gyda gwybodaeth a brwdfrydedd i ddod i stiwardiaeth ymroddedig o dirweddau a threftadaeth unigryw Eryri. Hyrwyddo'r iaith Gymraeg yn un bwrpasol gwneud penderfyniad hollbwysig gan yr awdurdod i defnyddio termau Cymraeg Eryri ac yr Wyddfa yn unig, wrth gyfeirio at enwau Saesneg Eryri a'r copa eiconeg Snowdon. Mae dewis yma'n ganolog i hymrwyad i diogelu Cymraeg a diogelu diwylliant lleol. Trwy gofleidio traddodiadau hyn, rydym yn gwarchod treftadaeth ieithol a ein hymroddiad i defnyddio Eryri a'r Wyddfa yn unig yn tanlinellu ein rôl fel ceidwad ein hetifeddiaeth ddiwylliannol, gan sicrhau bod yr elfennau gwerthfawr hyn yn parhau i fod yn rhan anatod o wneud ein gorffeddol, presennol a dyfodol. Mae'n hymgyrchion parhaus i ddiorgelu a hymrwyddio defnydd o enwau lleol Cymraeg o fewn y parc genedlaethol yn cael ei llunio drwy ddatblygiau canllaw cynhwysfawr i enwau lleol. Bydd y canllaw hwn yn adnodd gwerthfawr gan sicrhau cysondeb a dilysrwydd y defnydd o enwau lleol at adnewyrchu ein hymrwymiad I gynnal diwylliant Eryri. Datblygu'r economi lleol, mae cydweithio gyda thîm Eryri mynyddoedd amor wedi bod yn allweddol yn ein hymgyrchion parhaus I hybu economi leol. Mae mentrau fel y cynllun busnes di-blastig a chynllun llysgenhadon Eryri yn enghraifft o'n hymrwymiad I ddwsuriaeth gynaladwy. Nid yn unig mae'r prosiectau yn gwella profiad yr ymwelmydd, ond hefyd yn hybu busnesau lleol yn hyrwyddo arferion cyfrifol. Responding to the challenges of climate change, energy efficient and the reduction of our carbon footprint within the authority-owned buildings have taken centre stage in our new asset management plan. This strategic shift aligns seamlessly with Wales Prosperity for All, a low-carbon public state target, by making sustainability a core focus. We're not only reducing our environment impact, but also setting an example for responsible management. Electric vehicle charging units have been installed in selected authority car parks. This initiative reflects our commitment to sustainable transport and reducing emissions within the Eryri National Park. Looking ahead, we have ambitious plans to further expand this provision in the coming year. By facilitating EV charging infrastructure, we are not only encouraging environmental conscious travel, but also position Eryri as a welcoming destination for new era of green mobility. Yr ysgwrn successfully secured financial supports for a dynamic programme of activities and events for both Welsh Federation museums and galleries and the Welsh Government. Through the Summer of Fun programme, the funding has allowed the centre to offer engaging experiences to our visitors of all ages, adding significant value and experience to their time at Yr Ysgwrn. This income data reinforces the positive impact of these events, demonstrating higher revenue of days where activities take place. Addressing the decline in nature in the park remains a paramount concern. Throughout peatland restoration work, our team is rehabilitating vital ecosystem, bolstering biodiversity and sequestering carbon. Concurrently, our tree planting initiatives are rejuvenating landscapes, enhancing habitats and combating climate change. Additionally, our leading work in the Celtic Rainforest Life project underscores our commitment to preserving unique habitats. These collective efforts affirm our dedication to halting the decline in nature within Eryri, ensuring a healthier, more resilient environment for all its habitats. I gloi, mae adroddiad 2022-23 yn adlewyrchu ymrwymiad yr awdurdod I warchod, gwella a hyrwyddo trysor naturiol sydd gennym mewn gofal I warchod mewn ffyrdd cyfrifol. Gweithaf yr heriau, mae ein hymgyrchion cydweithredol wedi gweld canlyniadau effeithiol ac yn cael eu profi mewn ymgyrchoedd llwyddiannus a'i perthnasau'n effeithiol gan ein cymunedau ac ymwelwyr. Mae'n diolch yn fawr i'r tîm ymroddig o staff, aelodau partneriaid a'r cyhoedd am eu cefnogaeth parhaus a'i hymroddiad ar y cyd I amddiffyn harddwch ac arwyddocâd parhaol Eryri. Gyda'n gilydd, rydym amlunio dyfodol ble all hamdden a chadwriaeth gyd-fyw gytun o fewn y parc genedlaethol. And that's the end of the news from Eryri. Well, that was reduced from 20 minutes to 10, I think.
Ivor, thank you. I think we're having a few issues with the translation. I think it was intermittent a little bit, but I could understand. Yeah, so I'm not sure online. Cheryl, you messaged to say you were struggling a little bit.
Yes, you can't hear it. It sounds like it's underwater. Councillor Joe flagged that up in the chat as well. I see Councillor Kay nodding as well. Yeah, it's just not coming across properly.
Liz,
Was it me mumbling? Or?
no, it was the quality wasn't amazing. Sorry,
I have given the
chamber,
full. I've given the full report to translation and to Sian, so it will be noted anyway. Yeah.
Okay.
It's 20 minutes of reading anyway. Okay.
It was an excellent report, Ivor. Maybe we could share it with members if that's okay,
Yeah,
in case
certainly,
anybody
I'll,
missed any details of it.
Circulate it to all members.
Okay, Liz, did you want to comment?
Thank you. Well, that's the most comprehensive report I have heard from the National Park. Even when I did it as a member, you put me to shame. So well done. But you make it sound absolutely wonderful. And as a member whose ward is entirely in National Park, you shared about the TIC and what's happening there now. I had no idea about that as a local member. And I think I would like to see improved communication, because it does leave a little bit to be desired. And I think as we're going forward and we're looking at how we as a county can work more closely with our town and community councils, I'd like to see an improved partnership working with National Park. Because I sit here sometimes and I think, in what county am I? Am I just up there in Dolwyn Ellen on my own? Because I don't see enough partnership working between Eryri and Conwy. And I'd like to see an improved partnership. From a PSB perspective, are National Park an invited member, or are they a member?
Put you on the spot.
I think they are an invited member.
They are invited, I think. Yes.
Yes, so they're not as part of the whole, are they? And that bit does annoy me a little bit, because and I say it from a member living in the National Park. And another thing that's happened as well within the housing enabler role was between Conwy, Gwynedd and National Park. Conwy have slipped out of it now, so they don't pay anything into it. So I've been told now that I'm lucky to get my community needs assessment, housing needs assessment done now, because from December onwards, not one area in the National Park will be part of Conwy's and housing enabler now. So it's only down to Gwynedd and the National Park that'll be paying into it. So, you know, there's a partnership there, isn't there? That's not totally working together. And the other one I was going to bring up was in the market housing needs assessment. I had a word about this in the last LDP meeting, where Conwy should really be carrying out the marketing housing needs assessment from the National Park area, but it doesn't. So it doesn't get done by either National Park, because they say Conwy ought to be doing it because Gwynedd do it. So they're just little issues that I'd like to see an improved partnership, because it isn't working entirely as well as it could do, but that's not taking away from your very comprehensive report that you've given us today. So thank you very much indeed for that.
Much redacted report is longer than that, but what I'd like to do is kind of invite you to speak to the park, because there is the Snowdonia Forum. So as a local member, I'm sure you could be in that meeting as well. So that would be, yeah, that would be a stronger link, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be all for that.
Happy
Yeah.
to do that.
I just bring the chief executive, please.
Yes, yeah, you did put me on the spot with the membership, because because it is Natural Resources Wales who are the statutory member of the PSB, but the park are invited. But that doesn't diminish the role of the park. That they have a vital role to play across all issues, environmental, tourism, all a manner of different issues which affect us as a council as well. I completely agree. We need a working partnership with the park, and we have reinstated meetings between the chief executive and the chair and the leader and myself. So that's happening now. So that's been reinstated. I think it was paused over COVID, but having that back face to face and having those discussions about the issues that affect both of us is really, really important. On the planning issues, yes, I think there are issues that we need to discuss there about whose responsibility, where things lie. I agree with that. And those are things that I will raise with my colleagues in the National Park, just to get clarity on that, really, more than anything else. In terms of housing enabler, yes, difficult times, isn't it? You know, money is a difficulty for us. But clearly there are conversations to be had. I think that's the message that I'm getting, and we'll certainly. One thing I would say is from our discussions with representatives of the park, they're very happy with the relationship that we have. So we have a good understanding, a good relationship. When things are needed, that there is the dialogue there between officers. Certainly, I think the engagement with local members is certainly something that we need to look at, because if you're not aware about things that are going on in your patch, well, I think that's something that we may want to address. To be fair, as a local authority, we're guilty of it at times that things are going on and local members aren't fully aware. So it works both ways, you know. So it's something that communication with local members generally is something that we need to make sure is on point. So, diolch yn fawr, Liz. Thank you for raising those issues.
I do have a very good working relationship with Eryri, but I just felt the need to just highlight some of those things because they've come at an opportunity with having a report from Ifor today. So, diolch yn fawr iawn.
Members, any other comments or observations? Alan, online.
Hi, diolch yn fawr. Councillors, just so you're aware, we've got an item on the agenda today around the revised Destination Conwy plan, and as part of that as well, we have been in discussions with the National Park with regards to their Sustainable Visitor Economy plan for Gwynedd and Eryri, and how we get more involved as a local authority as well. We felt that we couldn't sign up to it without doing some more consultation for that area of Conwy that sits within the National Park, but that will be something that will be coming to you as a member, and also as through the democratic process as well, once we've got a way through that route. So yeah, that's something else to be on your radar as well as a local member. Diolch.
Okay, diolch, Alan. Ifor, thank you for an excellent report. Felt like I was there in person. We are incredibly lucky to have such a stunning area within our own county and easily accessible, and it is a real precious resource that we need to protect and maintain. And sure, Liz, you know, there can always be better communication, can't there? We've got 3 members who represent us there, so keeping those communication lines open at that level and any other opportunity we can. But I certainly, as Reen say, welcome the opportunity to meet face to face and to have those discussions, so we're all put the same direction. So
I indulge.
Yep.
Before you do have your meeting, you know, if you can let me know when it is, if I've got anything that I'd like you to take forward, then we can do it that way.
Yep.
I think that should be included. All the members who are in the park should have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I think that's a natural way forward. And just to elaborate on what Ellen said, there is a lot of work going on between Conwy officers and the park officers. Angela, I think she's Jones from the park, is just basically, they've just created the template for sustainable tourism, and that's something I welcome to going forward. Yeah.
Okay. Deal, Ifor. So if that's okay, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is announcements by the leader. I don't have any at this time. Agenda item 8, announcements by the Chief Exec.
Just very quickly, Leader. We had a safeguarding board yesterday, an excellent board meeting. A lot of information that was shared around training, etc., which is really important. And I think we'll relay the messages about ensuring that staff and members are fully up to speed with their training on safeguarding. But I just wanted to highlight really that it will be safeguarding. We have safeguarding 2 weeks in the middle of November, from the 13th to the 24th, and we also have the conference on the 23rd, where we'll have I understand, I'm led to believe, a very good speaker coming to speak. So I would encourage all members, I think, who have been invited, and also the management team, the senior team, but also the managers forum will also be invited, in order so that we get the messages across about the importance of safeguarding. Clearly, safeguarding, as we've always said, is everyone's responsibility. So I just wanted to highlight that in good time, so that you make sure that you keep your diaries clear on the 23rd. There'll be lots of things going on during that 2-week period. So make sure that you can pop into the different events that are happening. It's really, really important. So thank you.
Okay, deal, and I entirely agree. So we'll move on to agenda item 9, which is review the cabinet forward work programme. Members, you'll find that on pages 14 to 46. If there's any comments or observations, if not, can we just show that we're happy to accept the forward work programme? Okay, Diolch. So we'll move on to the first substantive item, which is agenda item 10, which sits in my portfolio. It's the peer review. You'll find that on pages 47 to 75. So obviously, Cabinet members, you'll be very familiar with this report and the process that went behind it. So I don't tend to spend too long on this item. Essentially, this was a request that we made, a new service set up with the Welsh Local Government Association. I think peer review for me is always welcome. It's always important to get external eyes upon what we do in the processes and how we can look to improve that. The report you'll be very familiar with. There were no showstoppers in there, which is good. I think it shows that we're on the right path. What they did identify was areas that I think we were aware of in terms of our medium financial plan, in terms of our communication strategy, in terms of our decision making. On the back of that, on pages 71 to 75, there's a clear sort of timetable there of how we aim to address the issues that were raised. So I don't propose to say anything more about it at this stage, but I'm obviously very happy to take any questions that members will have. Good discussion at scrutiny, and they made the same, accepted the recommendation that the action plan to implement the recommendations from the peer review be approved. So I'll take some questions or comments from the floor, if that's okay. Cynarth, Chris.
Thank you, Leader. One of the recommendations was that Council should streamline its processes around decision making. It said it needs to assess whether presenting documents to various bodies such as working groups, programme boards, subcommittees, Cabinet before a decision is taken adds value to the decision-making process. And I notice at the part of the action plan that is there, and I know that we are already reviewing our constitution. We've got a working group that is doing that and hoping to adopt a suitably adapted All Wales module. But there also is an action for us to review how current scrutiny arrangements can be used more effectively with a more efficient use of officer member time. I know that Councillor Cheryl is attending this meeting this afternoon, and I just wanted to ask her where she feels she wants to go as chair of the Finance and Resources Scrutiny Committee. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Chris. We're going to discuss it at the chairs and vice chairs, and I'll be discussing that with my colleagues the way forward. So we'll let you know after we've had our meeting later this month.
Is that okay, Chris?
Thank you, Cheryl.
Okay. Members, any other questions, comments? Councillor Nigel and then Liz.
Thank you, Leader. Just got a comment on page 62. It gives mention to the introduction of our new financial system, which will improve our processes and hopefully bring some efficiencies. And I want to thank Gareth and his team and Mark Lamb, I think, who led on the project. I think that's correct. But hopefully everything.
Gareth, did you want to comment there if you can, please?
There we go. Yeah, no, thank you, Councillor Nigel. It's yeah, as you said, it went live on the 2nd of October, which was Monday last week. So it's early days. There's a project team meeting in the room behind us, and they're being very quiet, which I'm glad to report, and they'll be reminded of that when I get back to see them. Yeah, it was Mark led on the debtors stream. There was because it was pulling together a number of different systems into an integrated system. There was various other project leads as well. So there was I won't name them all now, there's too many to mention, but Mark has been heavily involved with his team, and I think it's to the credit of everyone that we've got it to this position, because there's been so much work that's been required on top of the day job you know, a lot of organisations will resource this separately, get new staff in and do it, and we haven't done that, which has been challenging. I'll be the first to admit that, but it's a good start. We need to build on it. I think it's fair to say there's more we need to do in terms of development going forward, but it's gone probably better than we expected so far. But it is early days. But thank you. I'll feed that back.
I'm gonna bring the chief exec in there. He thinks you've jinxed it.
Yeah, it didn't work. I take it it's not linked to the mics, is it? The system. I think, to be fair, I think Gareth's underplaying the extent of the work that's been done there. It's with any system a local authority puts in, a new financial system is probably the biggest one you could imagine, especially if you're going over from an old system to a new one and all the intricacies involved there. So I'd just like to thank Gareth because he's thanked all his team, but you know, I'm sure if Amanda was here, she'd say the same, that the whole project has moved on under Gareth's guidance since January, and I'm really grateful for it. And as you say, we'll touch wood and everything that it continues on the pathway that it is. But thank you so much for all you've done.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Liz, do you recommend?
Well, I'd just like to say, I think it's all credit to Conwy that we asked for this peer review, because we all need an action plan to work from. And I'm so pleased, Gareth, that you've had such a positive piece of work to do for the start of your role in Conwy, to be honest. And I think from a cabinet member perspective, I think it's an aid memoir. It's a working document. And so I most certainly will be working from this. So thank you very much indeed.
Okay. Of course you can, Mike.
I have to absolutely echo what the chief has just said, because Gareth has taken up so much of your time and the commitment that you've put into it. You totally underestimated the new core financial system, and just hope we all get paid on Friday. You know, so that'll be the test for that. But it is it's been a massive project. And as I say, you have led on the way, and fair to play to see, you know, Amanda as well has put a lot into that. And I had that project in the portfolio for just over a year and a half, and I certainly saw the work that went in. So big congratulations to you and the team, because if it fell over, it would have been, I think, reputational damage, whatever, you know, it would stop paying people, which would be awful.
I thank Mike, and thank you for all the hard work you put in when you had this portfolio as well. If there's no more comments, members, then I'll take it to the recommendations, which are on page 47. Cabinet recommendation 2.2 to approve the action plan to implement the recommendations from the peer review. I'm happy to move that recommendation. Nigel, you want to second it? Can members show they're in favour of accepting the recommendation? Okay, wonderful, thank you. So we'll move on to agenda item 11. It currently sits in the culture and leisure portfolio because Aaron has taken on the responsibility of housing while the deputy leader is off on maternity leave. The actual report is a delegation to acquire property as part of the housing and homelessness programme. The report's on pages 76 to 206, and I'll go over to Aaron to introduce it.
Diolch Cadeirydd. Cyn I mi ddechrau siarad, dwi jyst eisiau gwneud yn siŵr bod yr offer cyfieithu yn gweithio, gan dwi yn...
Can I check online? I've got a thumbs up. Is it okay online? Iawn, Sgi?
Yeah. Okay, gwych. Diolch Cadeirydd. Mi fydd cynghorwyr yn ymwybodol bod y cyngor wedi sefydlu rhaglen tai a digartrefedd ar ôl cefnogaeth y cabinet nôl yn Chwefror 2022. Prosiect allweddol sy'n rhan o'r rhaglen hon yw'r prosiect tai, ansawdd, caffael ac addasu, neu HQAA. Fel rhan o'r prosiect HQAA, un o'r amcanion yw canolbwyntio ar gaffael eiddo, a fyddai yn ei dro gobeithio yn cynyddu'r cyflenwad o 2 fforddiadwy yng Nghonwy. Nod pwysig I pob un ohonom, dwi'n siŵr. Mae'r tîm prosiect wedi datblygu briff ac wedi nodi cyfleoedd lle gallai'r cyngor gaffael unedau preswyl presennol a fyddai'n galluogi'r rhai mewn llety dros dro gael ei lleoli mewn llety parhaol. Nid yn unig bod hyn yn beth da i drigolion Conwy mewn angen tŷ, mae hyn fantais hefyd i dreithdalwyr y sir gan ei fod yn arwain at leihau costa i'r cyngor. Mae'r tîm prosiect wedi mynegu diddordeb i Llywodraeth Cymru am arian cyfalaf o dan ei rhaglen gyfalaf ar gyfer llety dros dro neu TACP.
I'm sorry, it's getting a little bit distorted again. A few people are struggling to hear. It's coming in and out, so it
It's clear at times, but then it cuts up.
yeah, it's coming and going. Temperamental is the word Kay used, isn't it?
No, is there another translator that could come in, please, and join?
Shall we try again?
Ddech chi ddeud
it's coming on,
ychydig o
sounds okay at the
eiria
moment, Darren,
yn
so-
Gymraeg i weld os ydy'r gyfieithu yn gweithio? Di hynny'n well?
Yeah, that's clearer. No, that sounds okay. Diolch.
Iawn, dwi ddim yn bwriadu dechrau o'r dechrau, felly na i jyst parhau o lle dwi wedi cyrraedd. Mae'r tîm prosiect wedi mynegu diddordeb i Llywodraeth Cymru am arian TACP. Pe bae'r cyngor yn llwyddiannus ac yn derbyn yr arian yma gan y Llywodraeth, fe all gefnogi caffael yr unedau preswyl yma. Mae'r cyngor wedi ceisio am 2.5 miliwn o bunnoedd o'r gronfa TACP ac mae angen gwario'r cyllid TACP cyn yr 11 ar 20 o Fawrth 2024. Ac felly, pe bawn ni'n llwyddiannus hefo'r cais, mae angen i'r cyngor symud ar frys i wario'r arian a chaffael yr eiddo cyn y terfyn amser. O dan y cynllun presennol o ddirprwyo i swyddogion, mater i'r cabinet yn unig yw unrhyw bryniant dros 10,000 o bunna. Ac fe all pob un ohonom yma heddiw dystio does dim modd prynu eiddo am 10,000 o bunnoedd yng Nghonwy. Felly, mwyn i'r cyngor fedru gweithredu mewn ffordd ystwyth, effeithlon a phriodol wrth geisio caffael eiddo, mae angen i ni godi'r swm yma. Felly, yr argymellion heddiw ydy bod y cabinet yn cymeradwyo bod awdurdod dirprwyedig yn cael ei roi i'r aelod cabinet dros gyllid ar y cyd a'r cyfarwyddwr strategol dros cyllid ac adnoddau i gymeradwyo pryniant a nodwyd fel rhan o'r rhaglen tai ac digatrefedd hyd at £200,000,000. Hoffwn nodi bydd y gwasanaeth cyfreithiol yn cwblhau rhestr wirio ar unrhyw wariant dros £250,000. Ac fe gyflwynir adroddiad i SLT cyn cwblhau unrhyw gytundeb. A mae hyn yn arfer da sy'n deillio o'r wers a ddysgwyd o brosiect parch masnach Mochdre. Dyna ni. Dwi'n hapus i drio ateb unrhyw gwestiwn, a mae bleddyn yma i gefnogi'r sgwrs hefyd. Diolch.
Okay, diolch, Aaron. I'll open that up for any questions or observations, members. Julie?
Yeah, thank you, Leader, and thank you, Aaron, for that. This makes absolutely perfect sense. Obviously, we've got the issue around timing, and things need to move very quickly in order for us to, well, to acquire the grant funding and to move forward. We've made housing our number one priority. We're all aware of the issues around homelessness and how we've seen those figures increasing massively. So I'm happy, if Aaron proposed, then I'm happy to second the recommendation, because yeah, makes absolute sense. Thanks, Leader.
Okay, members, any other comments, observations? You know, just from my point of view, clearly it's important that we move as fast as we can, but we do have to bear in mind it's a competitive market out there. If you're in competition in the private sector, you have to be able to process these things in a rapid period of time, because anybody selling their house wants it to be completed as quickly as possible, and we need to do that. But with any delegation, clearly, if there's any concerns about it, there's always the process of bringing it back for a further decision. So it's only in those cases where there's that you clear that it's the right thing to do. So, Aaron, if there's no more questions, are you okay to move the recommendation? Julie, a second of the recommendation. Can we show for in favour of accepting the recommendation? Okay, diolch pawb. So we'll move on to agenda item 12, sustainable economy portfolio. Council tax premiums on long-term empty homes and second homes on pages 207 to 319. Over to Councillor Nigel.
Thank you, Leader. Well, members, since 20.
Sorry, can I just let Chris got a prejudice? Let him leave.
Yeah.
Apologies.
All right, thanks. Since 2017, councils in Wales have had discretion under the Part 7, Section 139 of the Housing Wales Act 2014 to charge a premium on council tax in respect of second homes and long-term empty properties. An affordable housing working group set up in Conway and chaired by Councillor Andrew Wood was set up, and this group has been tasked annually with leading on this work. Members and officers have carefully considered the implications, risks and consequences associated with the various options for council tax premiums that might be applied, and the recommendations of the working group as set out on page 208 of the pack in paragraphs 2.1 and 2.3 are as the premiums be increased to 100% from April the 1st, 2024 for both homes and long-term empty properties as proposed by the council in December 2022, and an indicative premium of 200% be applied from the 1st of April 2025 for both second homes and long-term empty properties, subject to review during the next 12 months. Also, in addition, the working group has also recommended that from the 1st of April 2025, any properties that have been empty for 5 years or more be subject to an increased premium of 300%, which is the maximum currently permitted under the legislation. I'd like to thank the members of the working group for their detailed consideration and their recommendations that I fully support. I also want to thank officers for the comprehensive report and supporting information that was presented to the working group, which included the public consultation, which ran from the 5th of June to the 14th of July and received 373 responses. Also included in the pack were the minutes of the working group, the Welsh Government's guidance on the equality impact assessment, of which can be found on page 216 to 319. The report was presented to the Finance and Resource Overview and Scrutiny Committee last week, where members agreed unanimously to support the recommendations of the working group, and that I have just set out. 69% of second homes and 80% of long-term empty properties are in council tax band A to D. These affordable at the more affordable range of housing. Whilst any additional revenues generated from this policy has and will continue to be used to support the significant pressures faced by our housing and homeless budget, income generation is not the purpose of this policy, and if And if we are successful in achieving our objectives of bringing more affordable homes back into regular use, then the premium income will be lost. I'm happy to open up the debate to the floor and to the members. Thank you, Leader.
Okay, thank you, Nigel. Any members like to comment? Aaron?
Diolch Cadeirydd. Testing the translation again. Ie, dwi'n cytuno hefo'r hyn mae'r cynghorydd Nigel newydd ddeud. Fel yr adroddiad dwytho, fel ymlygwyd y gwir angen am dai yng Nghonwy a'r heria sy'n gwynebu teuluoedd ifanc y sir yma. Dwi'n meddwl bod hi'n bwysig bod y cyngor yn defnyddio pob arf posib i gefnogi'n trigolion, ac un arf ydy codi premium ar ail dai a tai gwag. A dwi'n cefnogi'r argymellion gan y gweithgor o scrutiny, a swn i hefyd yn licio diolch i'r gweithgor am ei gwaith ar y mater pwysig yma, a dwi'n hapus i eilio'r cynnig.
Okay, diolch Aaron. I've got Ivor and then Liz. Ivor.
Diolch. Fatha, o'n i'n rhan o'r gweithgor yma, a mae hwn yn cam eitha naturiol i adfywio ein gymunedau yn llan bach fi yna dros 25 mil o dai, ail dai, a mae'n newid cymuned, mae'n cau ysgolion. So dyma un ffordd o tynnu nôl ein gymunedau a adfywio nhw. Diolch yn fawr.
Got Councillor Liz and I've got Councillor Chris online. So Liz.
Yes, I just agree with the comments made by members now. But I'd like to pay tribute really to the work of especially Jeremy Grant for the work that he's done with the empty homes and the support that he now has, because I can recall the days when we were making no headway whatsoever with empty homes. And it's so pleasing now to see how many empty homes have been brought back into use again. So I'd just like to pay tribute to all that work, please. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Liz. We've got Councillor Chris online. Chris.
Thank you, Chair. Before I say what I've got to say, just for the record, at scrutiny, I declared an interest because I hadn't been able to speak to Matt before the meeting. I've subsequently have been able to talk to him, and he's advised me that I don't have a declarable interest. So I've either been chair or vice chair for most of the last 12 years of this that this committee has existed, and when you think that it is almost 12 years since we started the work, you can see that the group has been extremely I'm trying to think of the word. We haven't rushed into this. We've taken it steady, and we have looked at as much data and as much information as we can. Now, I know there will be some people who think, oh, 300%, that's a huge amount of money. But that is not necessarily what we will recommend next year. That gives us the ability to recommend and gives us the flexibility to act if the information that we get is supportive. But I think it's important to make the point that, you know, it was mentioned by Nigel, people keep seeming to think that this is a money-making exercise. It is not from any of us. We have, at the housing group, I think that last night and on Friday, we were told there's about almost 2,000 family units or looking for affordable housing and housing within our county. And if you look at the properties that are either empty or that fall within the second home you will find that it is more than 50% of all empty properties fall either in the A, B, C or D category for council tax. They are the affordable homes and the more affordable homes. And those are the properties which are disappearing either into the empty homes category or into the second homes category. And that is what's causing us a significant housing problem, and it has to be addressed. And hopefully we've heard proposals today that will see more land come into the authority's ownership and will give us some headroom in terms of building new houses. And equally at the Housing Programme Board recently, we heard some positive news around our ability to hopefully start to build within 12 months. But at the moment, this is our key driver, and if people are want to bring their houses back into use, we should perhaps be offering them some support. But if they're not going to bring it back into use, then we need to force that issue, because there are far too many empty homes in our county when we have such a huge number of people in housing need. So thank you, Chair. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Chris. Jeff?
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, fully endorse this and completely support the recommendation. I live in a small rural village, 2.5 miles from the coast, and within 600 yards of my own property, there are 15 properties within either vacant or in second home ownership. That has grown substantially since the 47 years that I've been here, and it's getting worse, and it's actually preventing young people staying in the village and finding homes in the village and actually maintaining village life in some ways. I know I don't speak for the whole county when I say village, but I do mean that in terms of because what's happening in my village is happening across the whole county. The danger is if we don't take the action now, you will find the fact other counties, neighbouring counties, will have taken action, and in fact it will become worse. People will come to our county rather than elsewhere. So I fully support it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I'm wholly supportive of this. The piece of work by Dr. Simon Brooks in Second Homes is really interesting, and I know it's been referred to by some who object to this. It's not the silver bullet's not going to solve this problem, but it is part of the jigsaw. 47% of second homes are in groups A, B, and C. So those are our cheapest properties. It's very hard for a first-time buyer to compete with somebody who's got cash and who doesn't have to sell a property to buy a property. So they're at a disadvantage straight away. In terms of the economy, many people have commented about how they do spend money here. I spend my money here 51 weeks a year. I do not think that someone even who's coming 1 week a month would invest the same in the local economy just because it's your day-to-day bread and butter. So a full-time occupied property, in my opinion, is more advantageous to our economy and our schools and everything else, and the ability to employ people than a second home. It doesn't mean we are anti-second homes. We know tourism and holidays are really important. It's our biggest industry. It was around 780 million last year, but ultimately, for many of our residents, there is no choice. Over 50% of them are priced out of renting or buying a first-time home. The criticism that we don't build enough houses, that costs a lot of money. It's very difficult in Conway. We have National Park in a third of the county. In the west of the county, in the east, we've got a floodplain. We're very constrained by our transport network along the A55. So actually building is really difficult. So every house is important to us. We do have more empty homes, but again, a third of our population are over the age of 65. So sadly, we'll have more people dying and leaving an empty house, which takes time through probate, which can be an issue. I've never had an empty house because, like everybody else, I have to sell a house to buy a house. That's how it works. So anything we can do to solve this problem is really important. A house is so, such an important pivotal thing for anybody to have somewhere to call home, and it is something we're committed to. And this is one piece of the jigsaw on that ground. That's why I'm supporting it. I just want to check there's no more speakers then. Nigel, you propose? Aaron, you were happy to second. Okay, members, can we show if in favour, please? Okay, thank you very much. So the 12 part 2 is still within the sustainable economy portfolio. It's the revised Conway Destination Management Plan 2023 to 2029. Okay, he's on his way now. So it's on pages 320 to 350. We'll just wait for Chris to make an appearance. Thanks, Arian. Okay, welcome back, Chris. Nigel, we're just on the revised Conway Destination Management Plan, Chris. So over to Nigel.
Thank you, Leader. The Destination Conway Partnership, together with the Conway County Borough Council, has recently revised the Destination Conway Partnership Plan, or DCMP, for the county. The plan was previously published in 2019. However, following the COVID-19 pandemic, the plan needed to be reviewed and many of the objectives became out of date. At the same time, the 3-year term of office for the existing partnership expired, and the structure of the partnership was reviewed and changed. The partnership now consists of 5 different subgroups, so that tourism businesses are provided with more opportunities to get involved and can focus on specific elements of the destination management plan in order to aid delivery. With the 2019 plan remaining out of date, the subgroups expressed frustration and an inability to progress ideas and aspirations for the tourism industry. And it was decided to revise the destination management plan was required in order to continue and facilitate the growth of the tourism industry locally. The revised DCMP provides an updated vision for tourism in our county, in line with other new strategies emerging as a result of the pandemic. During the revision of the plan, the Gwynedd and Eryri Sustainable Visitor Strategy 2035 was frequently cited as an example of good practice, and many of the principles have been reflected in the DCMP. Sustainability is a key theme, and the plan emphasises the importance of balancing the needs of residents and those of our visitors. The revised plan also aims for Conway's tourism industry to be one which puts Conway on a national and international stage and is successful, dynamic, and working together for the local community and businesses in order to deliver sustainable outcomes for the good of all. 11 objectives were identified within the plan to achieve this. Tourism priorities we have received from the 2022 STEAM figures, which show a total economic impact of tourism in our county is 1.1 billion. This has surpassed the 2019 levels, where the total economic impact was 916.16 million. We are nearly at the 2019 levels in terms of visitor numbers, and both staying and day visitors, and need to make sure we continue to support the industry so that it can continue to recover from the recent economic crisis. Overall, the revised Destination Conway Management Plan expresses the views and beliefs of our tourist industry in Conway. One of the strengths of the previous plan was that it was written and therefore supported by the trade. So we want to continue that work in this way. Approval of the plan would show support from Conway County Borough Council for the tourism industry and its vision for tourism in our county for the next 6 years. I therefore propose that we support option 2 outlined in the report to approve the revised DCMP 2023 to 2029 to facilitate growth in our tourism sector and to show support for the Destination Conway Partnership and the wider tourism industry. Thank you, Leader.
Okay, thank you, Nigel. I'll open that up to any questions or comments, members. No. I'm more than happy to second that. I think it's a really excellent piece of work. If you see the number of businesses that we've engaged with, it's I think exactly what we should do, bringing all our businesses together and helping them to make a real difference to our economy and the well-being of everybody within our county. So if there's no other comments, I'm happy to second the proposal. Members, can we show for in favour, please? Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to the third part of this, which is the Llandudno 10-year regeneration plan. That's on pages 351 to 483. So back to you again, Nigel.
Thank you very much, Leader. So the Welsh Government has recently advised that in order for local authorities to attract future funding, all towns would need to have either a place plan, a placemaking plan, or a regeneration plan. Llandudno has opted for a regeneration plan following a successful funding application by the Welsh Government Transforming Towns Revenue Funding. We awarded the contract to produce this. The reasons we chose a regeneration plan for Llandudno opposed to a place plan is because regeneration focuses on the economic investment and growth, whereas place plans contain community proposals for land and development. Much of the land in Llandudno has already been developed. It is just underused and therefore requires economic investment as opposed to planning developments. A lot of consultation has been carried out during the production of the Llandudno 10-year regeneration plan. 67 stakeholder interviews were conducted. A number of community consultation events were held in Venue Cymru. All 9 county councillors within the ward of Cregidon, Gogarth Mostyn, Penrhyn and Tudno were asked for their views on the plan. And all were supportive of formally adopting the 10-year regeneration plan for Llandudno. The aim of the plan is to reinvigorate Llandudno and make it a destination and a desirable place to live, invest and to do business. And visit a place that identifies key projects and activities for further enhancement to the town for residents and visitors for the next 10 years, subject to external funding. Llandudno, as we all know, is a popular place to live, a successful visitor destination already. And key objectives of the regeneration plan is to ensure Llandudno remains successful, whilst also enabling the town to be resilient and adaptive to future changes and opportunities. It will build on the success of the investment in the area and improve the offer in Llandudno for both residents and visitors. All towns either have a place plan or are working towards a community or regeneration plan. The draft plan was finalised in August 2022 and contained a number of suggested projects in order to regenerate and future-proof Llandudno, subject to resources being identified. There are 5 regeneration principles identified with the plan. The first is to maximise existing marketing and most of the wealth of the assets within Llandudno area. Has extra Llandudno extending the season for visitor length, elevate the quality, creating a baseline of enhancement quality to generate more visitors, culture-led capitalising on richness of the local culture, creativity and the heritage, and using those to create more effective and more activity for visitors and residents. Changing agents and growing networks of relationships to facilitate collaboration. Projects contained within the plan report back to the Llandudno Regeneration Board. A small action group has been established to drive forward key priority projects, and the board will consult on the order of priority projects for funding. I therefore propose that we support option 2 of the outline, as outlined in the report, to adopt the Llandudno 10-year regeneration plan in order to attract funding to regenerate Llandudno and future-proof the town for us all. Thank you, Leader.
Okay, thanks once again, Nigel. Councillor Liz and then Julie.
I'd like to second this report, please. I think there are some very aspirational projects within the plan, but what's the point of talking about such plans? Therefore, a visioning document such as this one is the way forward. And I'd like to see all town, and I know this isn't a town and community council one, but I would like to see all town and community councils taking the lead on this as well, and having a 10-year visioning plan. It makes forward planning a working document and offers financial opportunities for when they arise. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Liz. Julie.
Thank you, Leader, and thank you, Nigel, for presenting the report. It's really exciting. It really is. For years, I've kind of thought, you know, with all due respect to Llandudno, it's been somewhat stuck in a kind of older period, which they're constantly and understandably catering to an older generation that came historically and wanted a different offer. But I think, you know, the world has shifted and changed, and I think we can provide for both that older generation and for those families and younger people who might be tempted to come. But just to sort of touch on a couple of the bits that are in here, you know, it's really exciting talking about creating spaces where food vans selling high quality food, pop-ups for restaurants that already exist, but providing something different and exciting in a different venue. Encouraging obviously Welsh products and produce, providing night buses, you know, something as simple as that would make a real difference if you're wanting to encourage younger people to come along and eat at a restaurant in Llandudno. You know, they're things that are relatively simple. The reactivate the outdoor theatre space at Happy Valley. I mean, that's so exciting. And I've been to venues all over the country and probably different places around the world where it's something really different. And where would you see a better setting than that? You know, in Happy Valley with the view down over the pier and the Orme and the sea. It's really exciting. So yeah, if Liz hadn't seconded it, I would have done. I just hope that, you know, there's investment opportunities there to try and realise some of this. And hopefully that will be local business as well as us perhaps making that bureaucratic stuff less than perhaps it has been in the past, make things a little bit easier so that they can do things a little different. But yeah, this is a really exciting opportunity, and if the town sort of takes on board a lot of the suggestions in here, then it could really change the face in a positive way. So yeah, really happy to support Leader. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Julie. Councillor Jeff.
Leader. Well, Councillor Julie has spoken for the young. I'll speak for the grey-haired. This is very encouraging indeed. Nice to see this coming forward. Frankly, I'm hoping I'm around to see the 10-year plan implemented fully. But there's everything in there that should be, and it makes a change that, you know, we actually are on and up. We're always talking down. So I'm support this all the way, Leader. Thank you.
Councillor Chris, what age group are you representing? Sorry.
Thank you, Leader. As a Llandudno member, I just would like to commend Sarah, Ellen and Jasmine for the very thorough consultation engagement. It really has been great and absolutely suitable for this task. I don't think we should forget challenges ahead. You know, there's the balancing of the need for flood protection, which we really need in Llandudno with rising sea levels, and creating greater amenity on the beaches. We know that's been in the press a lot about sand on North Shore and so on. I was at West Shore with my granddaughter yesterday, and the playground was full of children playing there. It was a really happy atmosphere, and there were about 15 members of the Friends of West Shore group that were going around cleaning up sand and making sure there was no litter there. There was a really great pride in how West Shore was looking, and I thought that was great to see the local community really plugged into this. So just that from me today. Yeah, long may Llandudno remain a unique and such an attractive place. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Liz, do you want to come back in?
It was just really hearing Julie talk about Happy Valley. I'm sure I must be in the minority here that remembers going there as a child to all the theatre productions and everything that went on there. And the gardens that are up there, I'd love to see them. I know that Conway do look after the gardens, and I know that with all our funding cuts, it's not so easy. But yeah, we need to get more volunteers, don't we, going up there. So to revitalise that whole area would get people maybe wanting to do more there. So yeah, wonderful.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've had a proposal in a second. I just need a little bit of a clarification from Matt just about
that. Thanks, Leader. No, the proposition was to adopt the plan, which is correct, and that was seconded. It's just in terms of the recommendations. There's a note there of a recommendation to council, but it's for the cabinet here to adopt the plan. I think that's what's been proposed and seconded, but just for clarity.
Yep, so we're quite happy that we'll be accepting the plan today. Okay, so there's no other contributors. Good proposal in a second. Members can be shown in favour of accepting that. Wonderful. Thank you very much. We'll stand you down for a bit, Nigel. Move on to agenda item 13, which is Democracy and Governance Portfolio, Part 1. It's the Corporate Plan 2022-27 Annual Report and Self-Assessment. You'll find that on pages 484 to 681. Chris.
Thank you, Leader. Well, this is the first annual report for the Corporate Plan 2022-2027. The draft full annual report is included as Appendix 1. It is a very detailed piece of work, providing evidence of our performance against our well-being objectives, but also ensuring our focus on our wider organizational performance. So there is an easy read summary version in Appendix 3, and we have to answer 3 statutory self-assessment questions. I'll just read those out. Is the council exercising its functions effectively? Is the council using its resources economically and effectively? And does the council have effective governance in place for securing this? So those are the 3 statutory questions. And the evidence to inform the self-assessment is in Appendix 2. So we've got 3 appendices there. Going to the actual report, section 391 lists some of the key achievements that have been achieved during 22-23. There are 141 achievements listed there in 9 outcome areas, but there are many more achievements than that, which are detailed in the full report. So I'm just going to pick up a couple of things here. I'm not going to go through 144 things, but if we have a look at our first outcome, people in Conway value and look after the environment, we know our recycling rate continues to be high. It's 69% at the moment. We have grown 2,000 trees in our nursery, and these will be planted when they mature. There's details about electric vehicle charging stations for our fleet development and installation of LED street lights, which has reduced energy consumption by over 3,000 kilowatt hours. So if we go on to economy and culture, our industrial unit portfolio has an occupancy of 91%, and we completed the sale of the civic offices in Colwyn Bay. I've been told about the Colwyn Bay Libraries Recovery College recently, and that's a really commendable project. We've had £1.3 million of external funding for arts and heritage and 44 million for regeneration and recovery. That's good news. Turning to education and skills, don't forget the effective implementation of the curriculum for Wales and our support for 11 schools through their successful outcomes. We've supported 267 young people in their mental health needs. We've got a very active Conway Youth Service and wellbeing clubs. 10,000 people took part in our summer fun program. So also, I don't want us to forget those valuable family centres that we have. If we go on to affordable, appropriate, good quality accommodation, we've created 160 new build affordable houses and bought 162 empty properties back to use. I'm just picking out a couple of things under each section here. There's plenty more, and I invite my cabinet members, fellow cabinet members, to put their favourites forward if they wish. We go on to safety and security. We made all libraries into safe places as part of a pilot. Cyber security we know is crucial, and there have been staff workshops and mandatory training. Child welfare and safety has a strong strengthening family team in the Safe and Together model. Going to health, 38 community groups took part in our Warm Hub scheme, adding to our own provision of safe and warm places. I don't know if many people know, but free showers were provided in our leisure centres, and part of our focus on the cost of living crisis, we have frozen the FIT membership. And that membership stands at an all-time high of 6,631. I also want to plug the swimming lessons. My grandson goes to those, and they total 2,667 each month. The Welsh language course is a priority for us. We delivered 612 Welsh promotional activities. There's the Welsh Learners Formers, there's the Work Welsh scheme, and there's all the training that is being provided to primary school teaching staff to develop their Welsh language skills. Communication and engagement, that includes translation of 1.4 million words from English to Welsh. It also includes the development of 4 placemaking plans with the Town Council, and our process of producing our replacement LDP continues, and we've had a lot of engagement with communities there. This month is also Black History Month, and our Museums and Archive Services has worked hard to produce an online exhibition. So we come to resilience. This lists how many discretionary housing, winter fuel support, cost of living support, and energy support scheme payments we as a council have made. We all know that robotic process automation is with us, as are sensors at council sites to monitor and gather data on environmental factors, such as air quality. I mustn't forget that the council tax collection rate in our authority is 97% and is 98% for business rates. So we need to go on to the areas that we will continue to focus on, because of course we want this to be about improvement. And this section 3.92 on page 497 highlights the key areas for improvement that will be continued to be monitored as part of our governance and performance management processes. There are 23 points in relation to our medium-term financial plan, and those are there. But I just want to mention a couple. We realise that social care sector has ever increasing demand, and we want to ensure sustainability here. This not only involves ourselves, but also social care providers. The balanced budget, as you know, Leader, is a legal requirement. We know that capital schemes are paused presently and under review, but we have had some really good, useful budget working groups, and these continue to be scheduled. So I need to mention the unprecedented high levels of homelessness and the high levels of households in temporary accommodation. We know that that is a focus for us. So as I say, I'm not going to go through all 23 points, but that is a flavour of what is there. The financial summary starts on page 514, and it includes diagrams, infographics on what your council tax is spent on. As elected members, we get that question often. I don't understand what my council tax is being spent on. So I think fair dues, that's all set out there, and there is a 2022-23 example of spending based on a Band D property. That's on page, where is it? 514, that's right. So I'd like to go on to the statutory self-assessment 2022-2023. This is only the second one. Last year was the first time we had to complete this. It's a legal requirement under the Local Government and Elections Wales Act 2021. And you can see that the 2021-22 improvement actions are on page 622 with the progress and the present status. We can see that stakeholder engagement has been increased with hybrid meetings, but the public participation strategy is yet to be presented. So that's actually in the yellow box in the in progress section. So I just want to mention the 3 questions again. The first one is the council exercising its functions effectively? And in Appendix 2, we've got all the information that is backing up our evaluation. And we've evaluated that in the various sections: strategic planning, project and performance management, collaboration and integration. We've rated that from satisfactory to high assurance. The second question is the council using its resources economically, efficiently and effectively? Well, we need certain areas need to be improved in the long term. That's flagged up there. But we do have comprehensive strategies in place for health and safety, finance, IT, and carbon, added to which there are the new procurement, people and asset management strategies, and the Conway conversation. So the rating there ranges from satisfactory to high assurance. The final question is, does the council have effective governance in place for securing the above? And we've put forward evidence there that that is high assurance. It refers to our annual governance statement. It refers to the decisions that we make in Conway. Are they transparent? Are they documented properly? Are they externally scrutinized? We have an internal audit assurance map, and all elected members are made fully aware of their scrutiny responsibilities, and that the decisions made here in Conway must accord with the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act 2015. So say that's come out as an overall assessment of high assurance. So I want to take you now to the recommendation, which is on page 485. And I would like to propose, Leader, that the Cabinet support and recommend to Council that the Corporate Plan 2022-2027 Annual Report and Self-Assessment for 2022-23 and the Summary Annual Report 2022-2023 be approved as outlined. And this includes appendices 1 and 3. If I could propose that we adopt that and it goes forward to Council.
Okay, excellent, Chris. Thanks for taking us through that so comprehensively. Councillor Liz.
I'll second the recommendation. And I'd like to say, you know, this corporate annual plan annual report could be written as a very hard read, difficult read, but it isn't. It's been very well written and it's easy to understand, it's easy to read. And like on pages 516 and 517, it shows in diagrammatic form where your money is spent. And that's what people need to see. So I'd just like to say thank you very much indeed to the authors of this report, because it's been very well written. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Liz. Councillor Gilly.
Thank you, Leader. And yeah, to echo Liz's comments there, this is our opportunity, I think, each year when we look at this to see just how much the local authority does. And I think it's easy to forget just how wide-ranging our work is. You know, it covers numerous areas. And I was just doing some sort of sums. I mean, I'm not fantastic with maths, but in terms of spend, so I'm a mum of 3. Granted, my oldest 2 are now at university, but the 3 of them have been through education, you know, and I'm quite happy when I work out education is the biggest spender, but obviously it's not cheap to educate our young people and to have the best education that we possibly can. But I'm paying £9.40 a week. And over that time, I've had 3 children in education. And I think that's absolutely fantastic value for money. And I appreciate not everybody has young people in education, but just looking at some of the other things here, parks and gardens, the majority of people will either see those or access them. That works out at 15p a week from your council tax, you know, which is fantastic value for money. Libraries are around 25p a week, bins and recycling 64p a week. But I just think it's important to highlight it. I know sometimes, you know, there's a big debate around council tax, but for those who can, I would take a look at what that money is spent on, because it's so important and it makes such a massive difference. And each of those areas make a difference to different people, whether that's social care, supporting older people, or whether it's vulnerable people, younger people, and families, whether that's helping to the countryside management so that people can go out for walks in the countryside and get the exercise that's going to keep them fit and healthy for years to come. You know, it's massive, it's so broad ranging, and every year this just kind of hammers home why we all do what we do to try and ensure that we can carry on making sure that services are the best that they can be. And yeah, as Liz has said, it's very easy to read. It gives you that information without being long and drawn out and boring. It's there, and especially some of the pictures that are attached to this make it quite straightforward, don't they, to read that. But yeah, I guess it's opportunity to say thank you to all those different areas of the local authority that work so hard, and to say to people out there, this is what your money spent on. It's not just sometimes things politicized and we don't get the opportunity to highlight exactly, you know, what their money goes towards. We appreciate it, and this is what it's all about. So thank you, Leader.
Okay, thanks, Julie. Councillor Nigel.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, I totally agree with Julie and Liz as well. Whenever you see Amanda's name on a report, it's always a good read, and you know, the detail is it's there, isn't it? You know, it's fantastic. And you know, not that I go on social media a lot, but those doubters that say what do councillors really do, you've only got to look at this report, and this is what we get up to, and it pays homage to our teams. See, we've got Simon Billington here, part of the ERF department, and what don't they do for everybody in this county? You know, our ERF touches every person in this county, everybody. We walk on the streets, we go in the parks, we go on the beaches, we use their street lights, put our rubbish in their bins. Everybody has contact through the council with ERF. They do a sterling job, and it's just amazing to see really what our officers get up to on our behalf. And it's amazing, as Julie says, excellent value for money. Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Leader.
Okay, thank you very much. How can you add to that? It's a fabulous report, and it's absolutely right how well put together it is. Infographics are superb, but it really highlights the good work we do and the width and breadth of it. But I think it's also important that there's areas there where we can do better, and we do identify those. I think it's really fair in terms of the RAG status, where things are amber and things are red. We always know we could do better. A lot of that is around the financial challenges that we face and capacity, but it is right that we celebrate the things we do well. It is right that we identify areas for improvement, and I think this report encapsulates this really well. So thank you ever so much for that, and thanks to all our officers for, at the end of the day, they're the ones doing this work. Chris, you proposed and Liz
and Liz
seconded. If there's no other comments, members, can we show for in favour accepting that to propose to council? Wonderful. So 13.2 is the hybrid working policy. That's on pages 382 to 396. Back to you again, Chris.
Thank you, Leader. Well, the hybrid working model for office-based staff was rolled out in July 2022 to staff and councillors after the Cabinet approval was obtained. I would like to just point out that it's important to note that most of our staff are not actually office-based, as many work in our schools, leisure centres, libraries, family centres, or on the recycling and refuse rounds. But anyway, this guidance was always meant to be formalised as a policy once we'd had an appropriate time to experience and evaluate it. Last January, you'll remember, a survey of staff and elected members was carried out. That was after the 6-month period, so that forms part of this review. The policy covers the necessary specifics, as you would expect: health and safety, technology, equipment, well-being, etc., but also sets out the important balance of office and remote working. Hybrid working is, of course, not home working. And throughout, there has to be a focus on ensuring that customer service and the Team Conway ethos are maintained. So managers set the expected balance, and there is a clear emphasis on teamwork, cooperation, office attendance for key meetings, and also, for instance, when there's a new starter joining the team. We definitely need to continue to listen to our customers, ensuring there's sufficient office cover and choice as to how services are accessed. The 6 C's of hybrid working, in other words, the benefits, are set out in the report on page 696. Those 6 are customer services, creativity, coordination, connection, communication, and team culture. I must also emphasize our decarbonisation commitments. By adopting this hybrid working policy, we will be driving this forward, as inevitably it will make us reassess our office footprint. And we know that our office accommodation strategy is being developed. So the recommendation is on page 683. And Leader, I propose that the Cabinet approves the adoption of this hybrid working policy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Members, any observations or comments? No, Darren?
Diolch Cadeirydd. Ie, dwi'n hapus i eilio cynnig Chris. Hoffwn ni hefyd jyst pwysleisio bod rhan fwyaf o'n staff ni ddim yn gweithio yn y swyddfa. Maen nhw'n gweithio'n galad yn llyfgelloedd, yn ein pyllanofio, yn ein canolfannau hamdden ac ati. Ond dwi yn meddwl bod y rhai sydd yn medru gweithio o'r swyddfa, dos o bod gen nhw'r opsiwn i weithio'n hybrid, sef o adra ac o'r swyddfa. A dwi'n meddwl bod o werth gwneud y pwynt hefyd, bod ni fel cynghorwyr yn medru gwneud defnydd o weithio adra, rhai cynghorwyr yn ymuno ar y sgrin yma heddiw. Dwi'n siŵr bod pob un ohonom yn ateb e-byst o adra, yn darllen adroddiadau o adra. Felly, os da ni fel cynghorwyr yn medru gweithio adra, mae o digon da i'n staff ni hefyd. Felly, dwi'n hapus i gefnogi.
Diolch, Aaron. Any other comments, members? No, I think just to add, it's about flexibility, isn't it? We all know absolutely there are times you need to speak to somebody face to face. There's times you need to form relationships. New members of staff need to integrate. But there's absolutely times where you can be more productive without having to drive an hour round trip to see somebody for 5 minutes. You can open a laptop and have that conversation. But it's about making sure that works, and the customer service is key. I like the 6 C's, Chris. You had them in a different order than I had them, but yeah, no, it's all about service, and it's about knowing what's appropriate, when to do it, when not to do it. But we've all been in situations back in the day where you drive an hour for a meeting and 10 minutes later you're heading back another hour. Every circumstance is different. The ability not to have to drive to Cardiff or get the train to Cardiff to attend meetings, be able to do that online. I mean, it's saving money, it's saving time, it's making you more productive, but it's all about applying it in the right situations. And I think good staff know instinctively how to do that. It's up to people's line managers to make sure that they get the best out of their staff and it works in each particular circumstance. And I think this policy, it gives the flexibility that we can provide the best customer service and attract staff and look after our staff. And as Aaron said, recognise the geographical location. Some members are in, some officers are in, that it's not as practical to pop 5 minutes. It's a long way. So yeah, really supportive of this. So if there's no more comments, we've had a proposer. Chris, seconder. Aaron, can we show we're in favour of accepting the policy, members? Excellent. So we'll move on to 13.3, which is Corporate and Social Services Complaints and Compliments Annual Report 22-23. Members will find that on pages 697 to 766. So I think we've got Chris and Liz going to take us through this one.
Yeah, I think I'll start off. So one of the legal consequences of the Local Government and Elections Wales Act 2021 was to give our Governance and Audit Committee the statutory function to review and assess the authority's ability to handle complaints effectively. So this report has already been to the Governance and Audit Committee on the 18th of September for consideration. Our focus, as we know, is to ensure continuous improvement, and this is reinforced by this report. Lessons learned and actions, for example, for training, are all outlined. We have now a much streamlined reporting process. There is one full-time corporate complaints officer, and she is backed up by complaints link officers in each of the service areas. And at this point, I would like to thank the team, this whole team, for their work, but also all the officers who respond to this important element of governance. On page 706, the complaints process is clearly set out with its 2 stages, and then follows the remit of the Public Services Ombudsman in Wales. Our complaints policy actually has been complemented by the head of complaint standards at the PSOW, feather in our cap, and Conway's performance as far as complaints goes is favourable compared to many other local authorities. On page 708, you have the analysis of the complaints, and it includes tables. But, Leader, I do not want us to forget the recorded compliments, which are on the following page. And we do use this feedback to identify areas of good practice. The most significant lessons resulting are: 1, the importance of recognizing dissatisfaction; 2, that all communications and procedures are clear and understood by officers; and thirdly, that ensuring all complaint information, in particular the recording of lessons learned, is captured, and we have agreed actions that are followed up. The Governance and Audit Committee welcomed the new approach to reporting and the standardization of the complaints procedure. It also noted that expressions of dissatisfaction are now recorded as complaints, and training has been provided to ERF and regulatory services by the Public Services Ombudsman for Wales. I'm going to leave specific comment on the social services representations, complaints and compliments to my cabinet colleague, Councillor Liz, sitting on my right. But in respect of social care complaints, feedback has been shared with all departments, and complaints training was delivered to all new members of staff. Going back to the main report, the recommendation is at 2.2, and I propose that we approve both the corporate and the social services 2022-2023 reports.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Councillor Liz.
And I'd like to second the recommendation, please. But as Councillor Chris says, streamlining the reporting process is now ensuring consistency in the complaints procedures and provides assurance complaints are being handled effectively. So corporate and social service complaints will now be reported together, which makes a lot more common sense to me. So both have been through scrutiny and audit and governance. So the authority takes complaints seriously and displays a commitment to continuous improvement by learning from any mistakes made. And it's pleasing to see a larger number of compliments in the year than the number of complaints received. So 151 compliments in comparison to 22 formal complaints. There's also been an increase in the number of compliments received, 29, when compared to the last reporting year, 122 for 21-22. And on page 735, it sets out for the public, read the pathway or the department that any member of the public can refer to, not only for council services and social care, but to our partners in the NHS, police and town and community councils. So it demonstrates real partnership working in the way that we carry out our duties. So I'm happy, as I say, to second the report.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Members, any comments or observations? No. Oh,
I know Tessney's sitting here, and Tessney often says to me that you wish more people would send in complaints to children's services, because it's only through receiving complaints that we improve on practice. And so, you know, I know Tessney always says that every year.
a lot of businesses pay a lot of money for feedback, don't they? Whether it's good or bad, so that you can hone what you're doing. So absolutely, we should embrace it and welcome it. So we've had a proposer and the seconder members. There's no more further comment. Can we show for in favour of that? Okay, wonderful. So that brings us on to where are we up to? 13. So it's item 14, which is biodiversity and resilience of ecosystems delivery plan. You'll find that on pages 767 to page 804. Jeff.
Thank you, Leader. The Environment Act Wales 2016 places a legal obligation on all public bodies to maintain and enhance biodiversity and resilience of ecosystems. Under Section 6 of the Act, every public authority must publish a plan and as how it intends to meet its requirements, publish a report on the progress of delivering the plan and its actions. This is the second plan that we have before you today. It was scrutinized at scrutiny 2 weeks ago. It was debated for some 45 minutes, and it was an excellent debate at scrutiny. Every member, I think, participated. I think within it, Councillor Louise actually commented the fact that she was going to the Canaries, and then perhaps she shouldn't be doing that because of the carbon footprint. I'll wait to see next year on how she progresses with that. The report, I would encourage everybody to read it when they get an opportunity fully, because it does have a massive impact on society as a whole. I won't go on much longer. I know my colleagues have been here, my officers, who have been sitting there for 2 hours waiting to speak on this subject. So on the original of the report, Sophia, would you like to sort of comment on the pertinent points? For which I must say, it is excellent report, so do please read it. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Jeff. Yeah, as Councillor Jeff said, the report was very thoroughly scrutinised by Economy Place on the 27th of September and unanimously supported. But just to briefly summarise the main points of the plan, the first section of the plan explains the purpose of it, which is to document the council's commitment across its services in protecting and enhancing biodiversity, whilst also reducing and trying to reverse its decline. The plan also describes how the council aims to meet its duties and documents the methods used to ensure that actions are being appropriately monitored and managed, acknowledging that biodiversity is the planet's life support system, and that quite simply the human race cannot survive without biodiversity. Section 2 of the plan, as Councillor Jeff pointed out before, mentioned, it explains the legislation, legal frameworks and national plans and policies which support the requirement for implementing this plan. As Councillor Jeff referred to, the Environment Wales Act, this act places a legal duty on public bodies to maintain and enhance biodiversity and ensure the resilience of ecosystems. The plan also goes on to describe the links between global frameworks, corporate policy and other relevant legislations, such as how nature and our natural resources support the 7 Wellbeing Goals of the Wellbeing and Future Generations Act. And moving on to section 3 of the report, this explains how lucky we are, Conways County. We are so biodiversity rich. We live in a beautiful place, and we also have a wonderful, varied natural ecosystem with a wide range of habitats, anything from grasslands to woodlands to freshwater lakes, tidal estuaries and coastal habitats. And importantly, the plan acknowledges that biodiversity of Conway's natural environment underpins 2 key areas of Conway's economy, being agriculture and tourism. Finally, moving on to section 4 of the plan, this is the action plan. The action plan has been designed to follow the key themes and legislative frameworks and recommendations for specific actions outlined in section 2 of the report. whilst also targeting the wide range of biodiversity actions that are not only representative but also achievable across Conway's local biodiversity needs, because we've got to be realistic and set achievable goals given the current economic climate. So the action plan is set out with 6 key themes for delivery, covering corporate issues, policies and plans, site management and species protection, habitat improvement on the Conway estate, use and development of biodiversity data. The 5th theme is awareness, education and advice, and the final key theme of the plan is working with the local community. So thank you very much. Happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Sophie. Did you want to come back in there, Jeff?
Yeah, thank you, Sophia. I'd just like to move the recommendation, Chair, and that is that the Cabinet approve the Biodiversity and Resilience Economic Delivery Plan for 23-24, 23 to 26, 3-year plan.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Jeff.
Leader.
Liz?
I'd like to say that this was very well received, wasn't it, in scrutiny, with many members speaking up on behalf of the plan very positively. And I hear now that Simon wants a beehive on top of Coed Pedwar. So I put him in contact with the bee inspector, the national bee inspector, so that we can carry out that plan. So I would like to second it. I think it's a wonderful plan. And I know Councillor Chris is very quiet up there, but you had a lot to say in scrutiny, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, it was really well received at scrutiny. It's a really good report, something we're all keen to engage in. I think we need to be more ambitious than one. We need several beehives on the top of Coed Pedwar. We're going to supply our honey needs. But yeah, if there's no other comments, members, Chris, did you want to come in?
Just a quick comment. I really welcome that all frontline staff will undertake mandatory biodiversity safeguarding training every 3 years. That's a really good way forward. And I've spoken to a couple of the frontline ERF team members, and they're really looking forward to the training. So there you are. Just as I've got a strategic planning in my portfolio while Councillor Emily's off on maternity, I would like to just say that, you know, there will be targeted changings to Planning Policy Wales. We are about to get those hopefully this year on biodiversity and ecosystem resilience. So that will definitely be incorporated into our replacement local development plan, which we are working on at the moment. Thank you.
That's very useful, Chris. Thank you. So we've had a proposer on the sector for 2.2. Members, can we show in favour of accepting that recommendation? Excellent. So we'll move on to agenda item 15, which sits within the education portfolio. It's a consultation report on the proposed amalgamation of Ysgol Banad Mochtra and Ystol Cystenin. The report's on pages 805 to 821. So go over to Julie.
Thank you, Leader. So the purpose of this report is to share the results of the consultation on the proposed amalgamation of Ysgol Banad Mochtra and Ysgol Cystenin, and to seek Cabinet approval to proceed to the next stage of the process, which is to issue a statutory notice. At the meeting on the 13th of June 2023, Conway County Borough Council's Cabinet granted approval to proceed with the consultation, as I'm sure you'll recall, on the proposed amalgamation. The consultation ran from the 19th of June until the 7th of August. And you will see on point 3.3, the consultation feedback could be given in writing, via email or online, and the majority of responses were received via online. A total of 26 responses were received, and comments received have been included, which you'll see in Appendix 1 of the report. Of the 26 responses, 8 were not in favour of the proposed amalgamation, but those would where they raised concerns around potential budget cuts because of the amalgamation. The recommendation is that members approve the issuing of a statutory notice to formally amalgamate Ysgol Banad Mochtra and Ysgol Cystenin as one school following a review and approval of the revised transitional funding methodology. methodology. So in terms of that, why review the transitional funding following a positive consultation? So as I said, as part of that consultation, a review of the new school's proposed budget allocation took place, and this saw a reduction of around £80,000. It was agreed by Cabinet in August 2013. I can't really remember back that far, but that any new school where an infant and junior school amalgamating and remaining on split sites buildings, the new school would in the first year receive additional funding of 50% of the difference between the funding of the new school and the original two schools. And in the second year, they would receive an additional funding of 25% of the difference between the funding of the new school and the original two schools. And then in subsequent years, there would be no additional funding and new school would be funded as one school. Without the provision of transitional funding, the secure transition and future stability of the new school could be compromised through insufficient resources at setup. So the current transitional funding was agreed as part of the school modernisation programme, where schools amalgamated and a new school building was also part of the proposal. In this current Mochtra amalgamation, the proposal is that there'll be no capital business works as building works currently, as we've mentioned before. So the reduction in allocation following discussions with the head teacher and the chair of governors would put the amalgamation at risk of failing before it was even commenced, given the financial constraints, even with the transitional funding scheme that I mentioned, the 50% and 25%. So we want this amalgamation to work, obviously. We want to work with the school to ensure that this amalgamation is a success. So given this, we're asking to continue with the current timeline, but ask that a revised transitional funding formula is presented to scrutiny and to Cabinet with the statutory proposal in January for approval. So hopefully that covers the issues that have been raised, just those 8 negative ones as part of the consultation. And I'm happy to recommend a proposal, Leader, as I said before, that members approve the issuing of a statutory notice to formally amalgamate Ysgol Babanod Mochtra and Ysgol Custennin as one school following a review of the approval of the revised transitional funding methodology. Thank you, Leader.
Okay, thanks, Julie. Members, any other comments or observations? No, if not, Liz.
You know, this is the way forward, is to consult. And I think just reading Julie's words here, she's happy that we have consulted on the proposal and allowed the school community and pupils to share their views, which is what we should be doing. So,
yeah, and I would also add, Leader, that for the number of years that I've been involved in education as part of the local authority, this has been raised with me that the school wanted it, the governors wanted it, the families and young people that attended the school wanted it. So this is just about making sure that we make it right, so that as it moves forward, it has the best start in forming one school. So that's why I'm happy to support it. Thanks, Leader.
Okay, Liz. There's no other comments. I'm happy to second recommendation 2.2. Julie, if you've proposed it, can members show for in favour of accepting that, please? Okay. Agenda item 16, exempt items, Local Government Act 1972, section 100A and schedule 12A, access to information. To consider passing a resolution under the provisions of section 100A brackets 4 of the above act to exclude the public and press from the meeting during consideration of the following items, as it is likely that if present, there would be disclosure to them of exempt items as defined in paragraphs 12 and 14 of part 4 schedule 12A to the Local Government Act 1972. So if members are happy, can someone propose that we go into private session? Jeff, Julie, second, show we're in favour, please. Okay, thank you.